Here. Commissioner Cleveland.
Here.
Commissioner Outlaw.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Present.
Commissioner Reddick.
Here.
Commissioner Scott.
Here.
One second.
Thank you. Mr. Bonner, we have anybody with public comments?
No request for public comment today.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Staff comments and the staff comments.
Staff comments? Staff comments for this moment?
For this moment, okay. Look through the minutes, if you have any comments, found anything that need to be addressed in the minutes.
Chris, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as stated.
Second. All in favor of approving the the minutes as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Like your finance report.
Stay you back on.
Heavy duty. Jeez.
Let me see.
Lord.
Yeah, I think if we go over as we did before for the good of the board, if that's okay with you all, that we focus more related to her budget revision on the actual versus comparison, changes. Shay, if you follow that format, I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
I can hear you, but not too well. Which one did you say you wanted to go over?
Oh, because I moved away. I'm sorry. No. It's the speaker. What I was saying is if you just focus on the budget revision format report as part of this discussion, I think would be a lot simpler.
Okay. You can go to the next page. So this is the budget revision for as of 10/31 for the Ross grant. The first column shows the annual budget, and then the second to last column is the proposed budget, and the last column shows the changes, and then also the comments just to show how these numbers or figures were calculated. Based on the 10-month activity, it looks like the expenses are actually gonna be a little lower for the Ross grant, and the revenue equals the expenses, so that's why that's how that was calculated. Is there any questions on this new this Ross grant budget revision? Okay, next page. This is the same thing. This is for the Trent Court.
For the board members that were not a part of the finance committee, what we did is provided, or what Shay has provided for you all is a budget revision based off of budget versus actual for the 10 months. What we're trying to do is look at those expenses for the 10 months. We'll make those changes additionally for next month because we're on a 12-month budget year. And so take a look at these expenses. We'll provide, when we want to be able to provide the budget revision with you all's approval based on where we are for those 10 months. And then we'll make the adjustment at year end. Generally, what we try to do, which was one of the questions asked, generally what we try to do is do the budget revision at 6 months, because based on the way it trends and what we expect, generally we would do it at the end of a 6-month period of time with some of the staff changes and everything that went on. We're just a little bit behind what we would, but generally speaking, we would always generally do a budget revision mid-year.
So we've got major changes here, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're getting it right. That's the good news.
But previously, the budget was all messed up, huh?
Yeah, well, so it's messed up in the sense of as it relates to expenses, what we're trying to do with BDO and Shay's help and Daphne's help, what we're gonna be able to do next year is generally what I like to try to do is take a 3-year look at each of the past 3 years, look at our typical expenses based on operations, and then develop a budget based off of that. Opposed to just throwing some numbers against the wall and putting a budget together, what I like to do is look at the historical data, look at what expenses have been, what they will be, and then based on operations. Now, one thing we know for sure has gone up a tremendous amount that we'll adjust for is utilities going into 2025, because utilities have gone up a substantial amount across the board, especially in towers, as we look at budgets next year. So that's one of the things that we're gonna be really focusing on is the actual expenses as we develop a budget for next year. Yes, sir.
I'm just confused because I see the numbers showing the utilities well under budget, at least for Trent Court is what we're
Yeah, I'm
on.
talking.
And administrative expenses that are well over budget.
Right. Yeah,
And then the revenues are completely off, but that's all driven by the HUD PHA grants, right?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we look at utilities for Trent Court is different from utilities for New Bern Towers. So
Why is that?
because in New Bern Towers, we pay the utilities, we have a larger amount of utilities that we pay for in the towers because that building is a silo. So the expenses are increased more in that building than it is for the individual buildings or the individual units at Trent.
I'm still not seeing it. Maybe I'm missing something.
You mean for Trent Court?
For either. I mean, New Bern Towers, the budget's 198,000 and we're showing actual 134 and realized to 161. Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Well, I know when we did our utility calculations for next year for the rate is higher than the road products. But it may not be reflected in the expenses, but the rates for next year are gonna be higher than the expense.
What's driving the substantial increase? I mean, you got two different things depending on which one you're looking at.
You mean an admin expense?
And the admin, I mean, for the New Bern Towers, you got a more than doubling of the admin salary, right?
Yeah, well.
From the budget. But that's not the case with Trent Court. You've got it mostly flat, and so it's coming instead from other areas.
Well, it comes from a cost allocation. And what we're planning to do is go back to all of the expenses for the year, look at those expenses and do the cost allocation correctly. So opposed to just coming up with a number to put in for the budget, we're going to be going back and look at actual expenses for the year. And then the budget for next year will be truly based off of, because what she had put together when I got here last year, the budget that they had submitted, I can't give you a reason of why that budget, same budget numbers were submitted the way they were. I'm just sharing with you for the next year. We're gonna be taking a look at what our actual expenses were for this year and building a budget around actual expenses versus a projected number that I can't tell you the rhyme or reason was based on.
And I want you, I mean, I have confidence in you, Reggie. I'm glad we're doing it right. That's the important thing. I think that's right. But what explains the admin salary doubling?
So I don't necessarily know, Mr. Cole,
New Bern
double as much as I don't necessarily know that we put the right number in.
Allocation.
To begin with.
Oh, it was just, okay, all right.
So that's.
All right.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, there's no reason that, there's no need to spend too much. Yeah, I mean, we want to understand it.
Right.
When will we get a budget? Next month?
So, right, so what we're working off of, you have a budget next month.
Okay,
Starting.
to vote on for the following fiscal year.
That's
Perfect.
And
then we'll see all how that evens out then.
And that's why we were trying to do the budget revision, because without the budget revision and doing the right allocation, I can't put together a good budget for 2025 until I did the budget revision.
Yep.
And truly be able to see the cost allocation or the expenses based on true line items. Now we can be able, once this is done, that you all reviewing today, then we can go back and put together a true projected budget based on expenses for 2025.
Got it. Thanks. Thank you.
No,
That's good. I didn't come with the earlier one. I
What we
just.
should be talking about.
Yeah, that's good.
And understanding why.
We already asked our questions, that's why we quiet.
Half hour.
all good though, I promise you. And then from where we've been, we are a long way ahead, believe me.
As I said, you got confidence that.
Yeah,
get this
absolutely.
thing straightened out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you go right ahead. Say, so, here, that's.
Ms. Shea, you can move forward.
Okay.
If you like.
You can move to, so did you want to go over the budget revision for New Bern Towers?
I don't think it's necessary. Well,
Okay,
if somebody has any
So-
questions.
moving forward. What's the next report? Okay, this looks like, okay, if you go up, back up to the balance sheet. So this actually looks like the adjusted financials with the budget revision proposal. But the balance sheet is still going to be the same. But I believe this is the updated. Did you want to go through this one, or did we want to go over the budget actuals with current budget?
No, I think the balance sheet is coinciding with your adjustments. So I think we're good from that standpoint.
Okay, any questions on the balance sheet? There have been some adjustments. I went through the financials a little more deeply this month, and I saw that some of the entries that I had given Julian and for the year end close were not entered. So there may be a few adjustments, and also for the expenses as well. But this right here is the budget comparison report for the Ross grant, and this is the new, I want to say this is the new budget. No, it's not. It's not the new budget. This is the original budget. Any questions on the Ross? Next page. This is Trent Court. I know we've spoken about it before, for the HUD grants, there's been some issues with getting that login information to draw that down, so it should be getting drawn down soon, which is why you see nothing for actuals for this month.
So as we talked about, the number for the year is not going to change. It's just that when we draw down either at the end of this month or the first of December, it's going to be a larger number, because with Julianne leaving now, with us getting new staff approved to be able to do the drawdowns, we've not been able to draw down the subsidy, but we'll be able to draw that down before year end. We're getting that approved with
And next page. And the next page. So this is New Bern Towers. Any questions on New Bern Towers? Okay, we can go to the next page. And the next page. So the cash lead changes in the activity. Any questions on the cash? Next page. This is the grant summary. Any questions on the grant summary? Okay, next page. And these are the financials with the proposed budget provisions.
So this incorporates.
Uh-oh, this didn't get printed out well. This is the wrong page. Yeah, this is the budget revision. This is not the updated financials.
Mhm.
So. Could you point me to which one it is, or is that not here?
I can't see what I can't. Well, you can try scrolling down. Maybe there is somewhere later in here, but that's the budget revision.
Okay,
So if you scroll down, I can see if it's there.
I don't see it in the packet. Nope.
I'm going back up now. Which page are you looking for, Ms. Shannon?
So in the email that I sent, there was a board package with it said board package dash revisions. I'm not sure if it made it into this packet.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
these are all of these documents are the ones that you sent. So, I'm not sure. What, but I tried to align it with the numbers that you sent in the body of your email. So
Yes.
this heading should line up with the headings that you attached to your email.
Right. But I know I'm looking at the email, so I know it's in the email because I'm looking at the email.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can just, you know.
It's titled Budget Revision, Shay.
The title is New Bern HA Board Package 1024 dash revisions.
At New Bern, okay. I'm not logged in over here.
Send it to where?
Info at New Bern, HA.
So this is the budget revisions. This the one that I'm speaking of. It says board package dash revisions. I can what was the email address? I can send it over.
I have it up now. Can you see it on the screen?
No, that's not the right report.
Okay, well, I can,
What was the email address?
it's info@newbernha.org.
Okay, I just sent that over.
Are you able to see that now?
Yes. Are we running it from, do you have it up or are we gonna run it from the email?
Are you not able to see it on the screen?
I just see the email.
Okay. How about now?
I can see it now. Thank you. These are the same financials, just with the updated budget. So as you can see, when you look at the variances, they're much, much smaller than they were on the other report. So this is for the Ross grant, and if you go to the next page, it should be the public housing.
Mm-hmm. It's better.
And there may be some, so the month to date, there may be some variances, but if you look at that year-to-date column, those variances have dropped significantly. And you go to the next page. And this is for New Bern Towers, same thing. And I believe that was the last of my reports.
I'm just a little confused here, and I like these variances. Okay, never mind, go ahead, good.
Any more questions or comments for,
I don't have any.
okay. All in favor of accepting finance?
Somebody make a motion.
I do. Can we get a motion? I understand the motion at this time.
Second.
Dana, second by
Sulen.
Suanne. All in favor of approving the finance report as reported, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Understanding it's
Thank you.
definitely in a better place. Looking at it, promise you.
Let me just say,
It's been a long road.
yeah,
Oh,
and I want to be real clear. We spent this last year correcting
yeah.
and
Years of.
And so BDO with Agape being new as well, I'm not making excuses. I don't make excuses. I'm just sharing with you that as a team, we're working closely together to make the adjustments that need to be made, okay? While the presentation today may not be what I like or what you all like, the numbers are accurate. We will make those changes as it relates to what Shay provided to Agape, and there may be, as this report was missing, we'll get that to you all we'll get that posted on our webpage as well. Again, I just want for the good of the board to know that we're constantly working to get things right.
We can tell that, and this has to be painstaking. It has to be. When you inherit years of stuff that's been out of order, if anybody ever inherited such, it's painstaking. We appreciate what you're doing, you know.
And I appreciate you all working with, I just want you to know that while this is not the presentation that we typically would present and in the manner in which it is, however, at the same time, you know, we are making those modifications and those changes as we indicated. Generally with the budget revision, we would do that at 6 months, in the 9th hour, you know, providing those things to you. However, it's accurate, good information. There's nothing wrong with this report from that standpoint. However, we will get better at it, and we will present it in a more concise format going forward. And I appreciate y'all patience of working with me and my team to be able to do that for you as we move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A ball in your court for real, executive director's report.
All right. So from our standpoint, tomorrow, for the next 2 days, we have some exciting things going on in the community. We have solicited and elicited the support of the local community to participate with CDR at different listening sessions that we will have different committees based on this old CNI plan. We submitted that. Sympathy has been out in the community over the last week and a half from sun up to sundown, getting surveys completed by the residents of their input. We will begin that process tomorrow. We're excited about that. And we've gotten great participation from the residents with the surveys. And we're looking forward to meeting with local community leaders to get their input, because that way that allows us to begin the process of putting together this master plan redevelopment for Trent Court and for the 5 Points area that has been looked at over 8 years ago, and we can be able to update that. So we're excited about that. Please attend any of the sessions that you're available outside of the ones that we've specifically asked you all to be a part of. But we will get that information to you, and you're more than welcome to work with us on that. Any questions as it relates to the CDR process over the next couple of days?
Which are the ones tomorrow that you want us to be at? Is it the 1:30 to 2:30? I saw something yellow highlight. I was confused on which one, what times you want. I mean, there's wherever it says NBHA, is that us?
Well, it's us. It's us from the standpoint of me and staff.
Okay, that's fine.
I think Agave sent directly to you all the more specific one.
Wednesday.
This is this sheet here. So where it's yellow, that's what you're talking about. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I just want to make
And then-
sure I'm
but-
on the
but
same
please
page.
know on any of the other ones, we encourage, as your time permits, please participate. Because I'm at a disadvantage. I wasn't here before. You all are the brain trust of this process. Y'all live in the community and were a part of it previously. So please, I encourage you to participate as much as you like over the next couple of days, because this is the kickoff of it. And then as we go forward, but I want y'all involvement because y'all know what was talked about before and what was planned before better than any of us on our team. Okay. The only other thing I'm gonna talk about is benefits. We're gonna be spending some time over the next couple of months that I'll be bringing back to you all in 2025. The benefit structure and the benefit plan for the staff, it's a little bit of this and it's a little bit of that. And so once again, what we want to be able to do is try to put together a benefit structure that's more concise and related or relatable to what the market exists for employees today. And I think what has happened over the years is as things came up, whether it was dental insurance or vision insurance that goes along with health insurance. If we had health insurance and then somebody said, hey, we need dental insurance, we went out and found some dental insurance. Well, that didn't necessarily mean it matched up to the health benefit plan. And then when we came up with the vision plan, we added vision to it. And then there's a lot of those Aflac plans and those kinds of things. So what we're going to be doing is sitting down with Blue Cross Blue Shield, who's our insurance provider, as well as some of the other benefits, and come back and have a more detailed benefit packet for employees that we can present to the board in 2025 that you all can take a look at and we think will be more beneficial to staff going forward. So I just want to mention that to you, that that's something that we're working on. Sure, that's all I have outside of the things that we'll go over under the resolution.
Okay, thank you, sir. This time we have the New Bern Towers report, Ms. Simmons.
Do y'all have any questions about the new content? At this time?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question about the unpaid balance. The year-to-date unpaid balance. It looked like last month it was, it looked strange being able to back into that number. So let's see, New Bern Towers. Unless you just collected a lot of back rent and this one, but last month the unpaid balance was 1607. But this month it's 3194 and you only have $1,200 in unpaid. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I'm just questioning that.
Did I collect some? I did because of the evictions.
Okay, so you collected it to reduce it down to that balance. Okay, that's what,
Have paid it out. And
okay,
paid out to keep from getting.
okay. That's the only thing that I kind of pointed out on that one. Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Ms. Simmons?
Oh, how is your? Giving more problems?
Oh, not just, last time, it's really been going well, because I remember when we had a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that problem.
Thank you.
We made for it.
It looks like on this one, but I think that's all. Unpaid balance here doesn't look too bad.
No, not at all. Not compared to Trevor.
But you know, it's a very different customer base.
We try.
Thank you. We have the Trent Court minor.
Yes, I just want to, correct the units occupied. I put 100, it should be 90. Everything else will be straight.
So 99.
Yes.
And the 12 is approved. Those are ones that are, and I ask this almost every meeting, so those are the ones that are gonna be coming in, right?
Right.
So, yeah, they're in good shape on that. Although we've got 21 non-payment pending terminations.
But they'll pay.
The enforcer.
But how, this unpaid balance, you know, how are we doing and getting that?
Okay, I think the unpaid came from last year because we did not do the collection laws. So it carried on from last year to this year.
So it's grandfathered in, sort of.
Yeah,
So what we'll be doing at the end of the year naturally is we'll be moving that to a doubtful account category. And then, you know, it goes on the book. So if they ever try to move back in, not only housing.
Okay.
With
So these are people that are already out of the system.
For the most part.
Yeah, we're not gonna get them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I assume where it says month unpaid, it says negative 1510. Is that a typo?
say, no.
So it is,
So what I did, I did not put it in parentheses this time, where last month I did put, credit. This is also a credit.
Okay.
The 1510,
There's a credit.
it is a credit.
Okay.
I just didn't
Your
put the,
receipt is 1,500 above the charge. See,
Okay.
good.
so would y'all like for me to put the word credit or just?
I just wanted to make sure, you know, it wasn't a typo or something.
What is the industry norm for, like, with city New and billing, in spring, you remember when we had that study done with a lot of cities in the area? And some were reinstating 4 times, 12 times, 8 times, you know, we did all this research. What is, like, if a tenant in a 24-month period is late, or is the eviction notices, is every time they get paid up, is there a termination after so many lates or eviction?
So let me ask the ladies. So his question is related to, does the policy allow them just to keep getting evictions, or do we have something that if they got 3 evictions in 3 notices in 12 months, that the next time it's automatic termination?
Yes,
Is that what
it's in the lease.
it's in the lease?
How many? How many?
It's 3
3.
In 12 months or what's?
in 12 months.
Okay.
And we,
Do we charge them for this?
Oh,
do, they
Yeah.
get the court
Yeah.
fees and.
Yeah.
so have we had a history of having to do that after 3 notices?
I only had one that, Attorney Parrish did for me. So I only had one. He used that in the, eviction process.
I was just curious from an industry, at what the policy.
Generally it's 3, and that's, I just.
Yeah.
Let's share what's in our lease, and
Because we were getting a lot of concern about our billing, and we were actually very forgiving
yeah.
versus,
But we try not to be, well. Again, we're in the housing business, not in the
I
eviction
understand,
business.
yeah.
And that's what I try to explain when the residents, so right now, we have a policy with Tosh and Pam that when we send the eviction and the court awards us and they say we want to pay, once the court awards us the unit, every tenant has to come meet with me. They have to talk to me before, once the court awards it, even if they got the money the next day to pay it, they have to come meet with me with the property manager, and we sit down and have a discussion with them to go over the importance. Like last week, we had a young lady, and she was very emphatic about the fact that, you know, she had other bills to pay. And I said, sweetie, it's very difficult to have Christmas
Everybody does.
and nowhere to put Christmas. You know, your housing, you know, again, it's an education. And so we sit down and we have those kind of one-on-one conversations with the families to make them understand that you getting gas for your car to go to work, but have nowhere for your kids to come home to, you know. But for her, I mean, honestly, for her, paying her car note to go to work, I said, but if I evict you, where are you gonna come home to with your kids? I said, so hear me, going forward, I want you to understand, paying your rent. We can go out in the community and help people at churches and other organizations to help you get gas to go to work. We can help people to ask them to see if they can help you pay your car note this month. But we're gonna evict you, and so you don't have a house to come home to. And she was like, I understand. I was like, please understand. Don't come back to me again and we have this conversation again. And then being very honest with you, it has worked over the last 6 or 7, even with the elderly folks, you know. I mean, we had a lady call us from the rehab facility and saying, Ms. Berner, please. And I was like, but your son that you're letting come in your unit, so I need you to understand, your son, we're gonna put your son on no trespass where you can keep your unit. And she was like, okay, I understand, because you got an adult son that you're letting come in, but he's using up your money and then she couldn't pay her rent. So it's those kind of, I'm just sharing this with y'all because we're having real life conversations
Yes.
with these tenants on these type of issues. It's
That's
not
good.
just superficial. Once the court awards it, we're sitting down with them with these one-on-one to make sure that they understand the importance of paying their rent. And as Pam said, we're not seeing repeat offender, one or two maybe. But for the most part, once we kind of go through these hard conversations, soft skills is what we call it. You know, once we go through that, but then we're not seeing some of the repeat offenders, right?
What is the court actually awarding? What's the exact process here?
So once we take them to court for non-payment of rent, then the judge will then, if they don't have the money that they award us possession of the unit, then it gives them 10 days to move out of come up with the money or move out of the unit. But we won't take the money until they have the conversation, because otherwise it's just a matter of.
Oh, we're right back there.
They're gonna be right back there. So we, while going back to what Dana said.
Is that before or after the notice? In other words, when we send the notice.
Yeah.
Is that before or after the court consent?
Well, when we send a notice, they can pay the rent, but no meeting or anything before.
If it doesn't have to go to the.
Yeah, but once it goes to court, if
That
we
makes
get the
sense.
unit, then
Yeah.
that's when we have to come to Jesus meeting.
Well, I will say that for the 10 years I've been involved with the Housing Authority, I got many calls about help me, they're gonna throw me out, rent this. And since Mr. Barner has instituted this new system, I have not received one call. I'm sure.
They got my number.
I was gonna say, Bear Outlaw, you could probably say the same thing as well, couldn't you? I can't tell you how many times that we have had to intercede. And again, I don't think there was a good, strong policy.
Somebody called Jamie.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Ms. Meyer? Questions or comments? That's the name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will have the Raw.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't have any changes, to report. I am still doing the case management, and as Mr. Barner stated, I've been working with the residents to do the assessments and get those done. So we're at almost 50% with that, so I'm still working, to get them. I don't know if we'll make 100%, but we're definitely gonna try. So I did have a table event 2 times for with the Department of Correction hiring recruiter. That was on the 30th, and that was a pretty good turnout. We offered pizza to the residents, and so they really liked that. So hopefully they will, hopefully they will be able to obtain a job. And we also did it on the 11th.
What Simply is trying to do is every event that we're trying to have for the residents, we're trying to incorporate employees in the community that could participate with her. So we can try to help our residents that are unemployed or underemployed get better employment. So a lot of people are employed, but they're underemployed, and so they're not making a living wage. So what we're trying to do and what she's trying to do is encourage better employers in the community to come out to these events with her, where she can help those underemployed get better paying jobs.
I think it's great that 82% of the Trent Court people are doing something in this, right? And
Yes, sir.
That's great.
I definitely do encourage it. I make contact with the residents and even go to their apartment and have a meeting with them. Make referrals outside of, the office to where we're partnering with all the different community partners that I could possibly incorporate.
Excellent.
It's an ongoing process. It's a slow process, but for some, they're able to jump right in and say, okay, well, I like this, so I'm gonna, try this particular job,
Great.
So.
One of the things, just lastly, one of the things we're gonna be working on, based on sometimes, some of the board members, already shared here. This is a HUD structured reporting format, so we're gonna have a more tangible report format based on discussions with some of you all, or y'all looking for, based on the work that she's doing with the residents. So we're gonna be making some changes to that, because it's kind of boilerplate. The residents of the work that she's doing.
Any more questions for, any more questions or comment, Ross? Thank you. Mr. Vaughn.
Sure. So resolution. We have updated our procurement policy. Had not been updated since 2014. So we have worked with the national renowned expert with HUD. He actually writes the HUD policy for them. So we worked with him to develop our updated procurement policy. Our attorney has gone through it, made adjustments and changes that makes it compliant with North Carolina law as well. And so what we're asking, it also allows us some flexibility as it relates to the procurement process, how we did our projects, the amount within the confines of what that bid amount is. And so everything that you have in this policy meets the current regulations. And so we're asking for your approval of that. Jamie, any?
Yes, I'll add that the substance of the policy that you have under consideration and the substance of the old policy are about the same. We updated it to comply with updated HUD regulations. North Carolina law hasn't changed in 14 years. But the new policy, we took, especially with the consultant's help, took a very keen look at improving the efficiency and the clarity of the policy. Because these policies are implemented by staff, by the executive director. They're not always going to be able to call the lawyer and ask him what does this policy mean? So we've tried to clarify to make it more clear. That's why we have a very detailed table of contents. The expenditure levels, we've really made those consistent. Federal law and state law have different amounts, so you have to use different kinds of contracting depending on what it is you're buying. We went with the most conservative approach, which is $90,000. So anything over $90,000 has to be put out for bid. Anything less than that is in accordance with HUD North Carolina law, not a change from what you have right now. Any contract over $25,000 in total has to be approved by this board. That's consistent with the prior policy. That number can be zero, it can be 100,000. 25,000 is where you all have been in the past successful to use this time. I think those are the two most important points to do with. There are some formatting typo changes that we'll be making in the final version. Procurement policies can be updated at any time. It's not like your budget or anything you have to report to HUD on a regular basis. So if we need more changes, if we need to tweak it in the future, we certainly can. Reggie's the one who's going to be implementing it. So once you get into figuring out, following it and using it, if we need to improve it, we can do that.
I had one question under your 5.4. What is a non-competitive proposal?
Non-competitive proposal is an emergency proposal.
Well, that's what it is. And is that what it could be called?
Well, we go into, we explain what it is in the policy, but we can call it. It's also sole source if there's only one source and that's the only place you can get it.
Well,
but we can call it.
No, I just was, I'm kind of like when you get one bank that makes a bid, there's something wrong. And I've seen that before. And when you can't get but one person to bid a particular piece of equipment, I have issues, I just want to make sure that everything's properly vetted, everybody gets a chance at it, which I'm sure that'll happens, but when, I'll help you find a bid if you can't find the second one, on anything. I'll help you get that, but I'm just kind of trying to make sure that's not the case.
The non-competitive proposals are always disfavored. Never go to non-competitive proposals first. Non-competitive proposals are prohibited in certain cases in the North Carolina law. They're prohibited by HUD regulations in other cases. We've limited it here to emergencies, special authorization from HUD, and
Where does it say that about?
5.5.1.
5.5, okay, good, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, then they've got to write a written report on the justification.
Right.
If
It can be abused. If it is.
It can be abused.
how long have we been working on this procurement policy?
You said what now?
How long have we been working on it?
I've been working on it since 2004.
So, I mean, I guess I'm just saying, and listen, I know we need to fix it and all this. I mean, we got to keep it up to date. I'm just like, we got this thing I was checking it, I think 1:38 this afternoon. So there's no way that I've been able to have time, given my work schedule, to give this any due care review.
That's right. And I realize that. I didn't get it until last week. I turned it around as fast as I possibly could and trying to get it back to you all. If you want to review it and approve it next month, that's fine. As long as you're looking at it. I don't have any problem.
And I'm also just wondering, because I've been told that it's not that different from the current one.
It is different.
It's substance.
It's substantive from the standpoint that the policies, HUD policies were outdated in the old policy. This updates all of the HUD policies to the current HUD rules and everything.
Number.
Exactly.
Yeah, we obviously need to do that.
But there are language changes, and if you'd like to see the track changes version.
Yeah, that's what I sort of like, because when I went on like university, UNC system boards, they propose rules, we get the track and I can look at exactly what's changed, and that's useful to me, right?
So
I don't know if anyone else wants to review it that way, but I like it.
But here's the problem with that. The format of your old policy is not this format.
Mm.
So there's no way.
Can't do a side.
Right.
I can't do it side by side. You can read through it and I can.
What I did, Reggie, if I may,
Sure.
for my own use, when I got this updated version, I compared it to the old version and I did a chart of what's the same, what's the difference. A lot of it is the same, some of it's different. I can put that chart in a memo form. And give
Yeah, I
that-
mean, I don't want to create exorbitant billing at Jamie's Wordsmith's hourly rate too much. Well, but if you've already got the work product and you can just share it with us and then share us the old policy, I don't mind using that.
Okay, is that? Sure.
That's fine.
I've got a question, Reggie, just in reading through it quickly today, was what is it? Oh, section 8.6 on the credit cards. So are we gonna have somewhat of a policy or something? Because it says here that, should follow the rules for all other small purchases. That the PHA shall adopt reasonable safeguards. That's what I'm talking about. Are you gonna, have a list of
We have those
safeguards?
in place now. So when we use the credit card, we have a form that has to be filled out. We attach the receipts to that and it gets 3 signatures.
But should that be written somewhere in our policy? Or is that, how do we know that that's standard operating procedure? I'm asking that as a question. I'm not saying, is that something that should be included under that policy?
Normally not. I
Okay.
think that's really an operational matter for the executive director. The credit cards need to be read in conjunction with the $50 and under rule.
Right.
And the $50 to $2,000 rule. So if it's $50 and under, you don't have to get more than one bid. You can just go buy the can of milk or staples or whatever.
Office supplies, right?
If it's over $50, you have to get a bid or an estimate. You can do that in a number of ways. You can call people, you can look on the internet. And you have to get approval from the approval to implement it before you can ever use your credit card. That's in the policy. Now, the day-to-day operations and how he manages all that, that's not in the policy. It probably shouldn't be.
I was checking, and then once, there's a portion here in 18 point, I think it's 1 or 9, can't see, about the delegation. How, I know everything's to the executive director. Will you have somebody then below you, Reggie, that would be delegated to these tasks? Or would that be in here? Would it go to your administrative assistant or whatever? Would that have to be named in the procurement policy, or is that just up to the, she would say up to the?
It's generally a personnel issue. That it's delegated to me and then I delegated to a staff person.
Right.
In writing, but that's not necessarily in the policy per se.
It's operational.
It's just more of an operational issue.
Okay, so I'm just confusing operational with this. Okay, no problem. Thank you for answering my question.
So, Mr. Board Chair, we can defer.
Yeah,
the approval of the next month
Yes.
until the board has a chance to review it, and Jamie will get a copy that they review and analysis that he did of the previous before, and a copy will get that out to you.
This can be a bullet list. I'd be happy to do a 20-page memo.
No.
I'm sure you would.
I use your firm a little bit, but I know you're billing it.
Can't you just talk lawyer to him and be done with it?
All right, thank you. That's what we'll do with it for that next month. You have another resolution.
We do. So you all have approved the purchase of the 3 houses from the redevelopment commission. This resolution is board approval of the First Citizens bank loan. We're gonna provide the information to you. Go ahead and give it to me.
Yeah, we got this.
So this kind of gives you the outline of these are the draft terms and conditions that First Citizens has provided to us as relates to the credit facility.
We did get this.
So just to clarify, how long do we expect this to take on the FEMA thing, right? This is like a bridge, right?
Yes,
It is.
And how long do we've got it it's an 18-month note, but
it could be that. We're waiting for the whole development
the whole
process.
deal.
They can't do anything until we have the plan and everything,
Right.
ABC.
We've been told by CBR, as you know, it takes 12 months.
Yeah.
To do the master plan.
Yeah.
And then once that's submitted to FEMA, then FEMA can give us the approval in writing on their funding, but until then, what First Citizens is providing is the bridge to allow us to take down those houses.
With that said, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 11.24.01, authorizing the loan from First Citizens Bank.
second.
All in favor of approving the resolution number 11.2401, and the loan for First Citizen Bank and Trust, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? At this time, we need closed session
Yeah, it shouldn't take us that long.
motion.
I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Second, Sue-Ann, come on forward.
Oh, God.
Come on, who's gonna,
On real estate.
Personnel.
and they're gonna.
For personnel and real
The
estate.
chapter and verse. It's my big notebook. Second.
Okay.
You was looking for it, right?
You know it was. All in favor of calling the closed session to discuss real estate and personnel matters, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Closed session. No, I was looking for it.
I should have looked at it before I got it, so I could write, I'm gonna start writing down on my paper.
I had the personnel, I didn't have the real estate.
Have 4 copies for anyone.
Oh,
That's
I've got it.
I saved it to my computer, my office.
I'll just put it in the middle.
I've already read it. Unfortunately.
Every word, right?
I did.
And remember in the class that we.
Back in the open session, no further business to be conducted.
No action was taken.
No action was taken.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And remember in the class that we.
Back in the open session, no further business to be conducted.
No action was taken.
No action was taken.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?